Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to your lecture number 6, that is your communication skills class. I'm your tutor Anila Nushin, back with your 7 C's of communication. Remember, in the previous lecture we had been talking about the 7 C's of communication in detail, and I introduced you with some of the different categories of how you actually talk about writing, business writing skills and workplace writing skills. Today we will also see that how you can, by applying these 7 C's of communication, you can make your writing or technical writing one powerful communication, as you are students of business communication, so you will automatically understand that how you can apply these 7 C's of communication in your practical life. To give you a quick recap of what we have done in our previous lecture. Basically, in our previous lecture, we thoroughly discussed the 7 C's of communication that you can see on the slide as well. That talks about the completeness, conciseness, consideration, clarity, concreteness, courtesy and correctness that we are going to discuss today. Previous lecture basically was the introduction to all the 7 C's of communication, and I introduced you with some of the different different types of or different styles of technical writing or workplace writing or the business writing that made you understand that how you can apply these 7 C's of communication in your everyday practical life and everyday business communication. So, in our previous lecture, we are done with our completeness thing, that we thoroughly discussed that how this completeness talks about the completion of the message, or completion of the content that you are providing. For the completion of the message, in our last lecture we thoroughly discussed to keep in mind the 5 W's and 1 H. Now these 5 W's are supposed to be kept in mind while you are talking about the completeness of the message. They are what, when, why, where and who. So all these 5 W's and 1 H that talks about how are supposed to be kept in mind and supposed to be answered by the sender himself, as to make sure that you can address and you can talk to different audiences and you can satisfy their questions and queries on your own. So this is what we have talked about the completeness, and with every C that we would discuss in today's lecture, we would come up with different exercises that we would do on the spot, and we would see that how you can overcome these problems while you are writing down something on writing down in technical writing paper for the potential client for one particular or the targeted audiences. This is what we are going to practice so that as you can produce that verbal communication document that is written in a perfect way. So we are done with the completion of the message that talks about the completeness. Today we will begin with the rest of other C's of communication. The second C of communication that needs our attention is conciseness. Now when I use the concise, when I use the word concise, it basically has something to do with short, brief, terse, crisp, and that packed up information that is very brief, yet it is providing you, or yet it is giving you the detailed information that is to be there or that has to be there. So to complete or to make sure that you are you fulfill this criteria of conciseness, you are supposed to eliminate the wordy expressions. Now these wordy expressions, for these wordy expressions we would see some examples too, and we would solve some exercises also. Include only relevant statements like be focused, shorten and avoid long explanations, avoid gushing politeness and all these expressions. Avoid unnecessary repetitions like dual or doubled words or redundancies, like if I say the ball was round in shape, so if round itself depicts that it's a shape, so it's useless to say that round in shape. So to do so, you use short forms of the second time and use pronouns. So these are the ideas that we are going to discuss while you want to make your expressions, or while you want to make your business writing kind of concise. Now moving on to the next slide, let's discuss all of them one by one. Eliminate wordy expressions, like using single words in place of long phrases. Like even Winston Churchill made extensive use of simple one-syllable words. So the examples, as you can see, is at this time, instead of using all these long phrases, you can use now, due to the fact that you can use because. So the long and lengthy phrases can be reduced into words to make your whole document concise, crisp, terse, and crispy in the form. Now there are some words that you would find out for short short forms for. Now there are some final, or there are some shapes, and there are some phrases written right in front of you on the slide. Let's try to find out their short versions. Due to the fact that, because. Employed, the use of, employed. Basic, fundamentals, basics, or maybe fundamentals, one word. Completely eliminate, eliminate. Alternate choices, alternate. Actual experience, experience. Connected together, either use connected or use together, connected. Final result, result itself is a final thing, so you are going to write it just simple result. Proof, conclusively, proof. In as few words as possible, this one you are going to find on your own. Alright. So the answers are written for you on this slide. You can check them out if we have done the correct answers. Due to the fact that, because, employed, the use of, used. Basic, fundamentals, either basics or either fundamentals. Completely eliminate, eliminate. Alright, here is a bullet. Alternate choices, alternatives. Actual experience, experience. Connected together, either together or connected. Final result, result. Proof, proof. In a few words as possible. That you couldn't tell me that was concisely. So that was about reducing the longer phrases into words. The second thing that we are supposed to see is to include only relevant material and leave the irrelevant material. So this is kind of wordy example written right in front of you. It says, we hereby wish to let you know that our company is pleased with the confidence you have responded in us. Now, instead of saying a very long sentence, you would have taken one sentence to make it very concise, and you would simply say that we appreciate your confidence. So instead of beating about the bush, and instead of dragging the whole talk and then just dragging it nowhere, it's a very easy thing that you can do is that you can simply write down the gist of, or the basic core of, or the basic message that you want to convey to your audiences. Now the exercise that you are supposed to do is, alright, this is, I have written the answers already. You can see these answers for your convenience. Find single word substitutes for the phrases. Like for example, with regard to is like about, despite the fact that, although, at the present writing now, is of opinion that, thinks, in the first place, first, at a rapid rate, fast. So these kind of phrases, you are supposed to remember them and then incorporate them into your business writing, because this is a very best practice that once you are going to make your message complete, that is also very important that you make your message concise. Concise means that you are going to put every information in a way that is not going to cross the limit of the words that is required there. So we discussed in our previous lectures also the ideal sentence length, and then we also discussed the ideal paragraph length. So the ideal sentence length is basically between 20 to 25 words, and the very a smart length or of the paragraph is between 60 to 100 words. So you are going to make sure that you are not going to cross this limit, and to keep that limit of the word in your sentences and then in your paragraphs, it is a very best practice that you use these shorter versions or these single word substitutes for the longer phrases, for which the examples are there right in front of you, and you can write them down in your business reports and your business writings to make them concise and complete. Now you are supposed to pick up your pen and copy and rewrite the following by omitting articles, worn out or the tried expressions, wordy sentences and repetitions. So moving on to the next slide and your exercise. Now pick up your copies and pick up your pens and get ready to write it down for the conciseness that you are going to omit all the wordy and tried out expressions and then converting phrases into words and all that. Now let's read our example number 1. At this time I am writing to you to enclose the postpaid appointment for the purpose of arranging a convenient time when we might get together for a personal interview. Now you are supposed to write down one good sentence, one good concise sentence for this wordy expression. Now reread that and let's try to do it together. At this time I am writing to you to enclose the postpaid appointment for the purpose of arranging a convenient time when we might get together for a personal interview. Alright. At this time, now, or currently, I am writing to you, okay, to enclose the postman appointment for the purpose of, alright, advance appointment for the purpose of, to arrange a convenient time, to arrange a meeting time or a suitable time when we might get together for a personal interview, for one-to-one or for an interview. Currently, I am writing to arrange a suitable time for personal interview in advance. Do you see any difference? Currently or right now, I am writing to arrange a suitable time for personal interview in advance. Or currently, I want to, or if you can, just omit it out also. I want to arrange a suitable time for personal interview in advance. So this is going to be a concise version that is going to be more understandable by your audiences, and that one you can do on your own. Alright. The next example is right in front of you, and that is your test. Now I will read that for you and you are supposed to write that down on your own. However, I am here to help you also. Will you ship us sometime? Will you ship us sometime, anytime during the month of October or even November? If you are rushed, for November will suit us just as well. In fact, a little bit better. 300 of the regular 3.5-inch blue armbands with white sewn letter in the middle. Now, how you are supposed to shorten it? Will you ship us sometime? Let's write it down. Will you ship us? Now this sometime has to be explained thoroughly. Anytime during the month of November, October, or even November. Now this is what they are going to decide. If you are rushed, for November will suit us. So if November suits you, so why don't you write down November automatically? Will you ship us in November? In fact, a little bit better because November suits you better. 300 of the regular 3.5 inch. Now this 3.5 inch could be written in the mathematical or with the mathematical calculations. Now, will you ship us in November 300 of regular 3.5 blue arm bands with white sewn letter in the middle. Does it look better? Does it look better? Yes, because we have omitted kind of this whole paragraph and replaced that paragraph and replaced this lengthy expression with only one word, November, because you wanted it November and November automatically suits you. So this is how you are supposed to, omit these kind of elaborated expressions instead of, wasting your time as well as wasting the time of the receiver. What you can do is you can write down in very simple words that what exactly is your requirement and what exactly you are looking for. So this is what you are supposed to do to make your writings concise. So far we are done with 2 C's of communication. The first C of communication talks about completeness, and second C of communication talks about conciseness. The third C of communication talks about the consideration. Consideration means preparing every message with the message receivers in mind. Try to put yourself in their place. Now you are considering them as like you consider yourself on their place. You consider that what exactly or what they can ask from me. Now you are sitting on their place and you see that how they feel and how they actually interpret your message. You are considerate. Now you are sitting on their place and you see that you remain considerate. You do not lose your temper. The kind of the conversation you are listening to, through that you remain considerate first of all. You do not lose your temper. You do not accuse and you do not charge them without facts. So you are not going to get emotional over it. You are going to provide that with the facts. The thoughtful consideration is also called the you attitude. So once you are going to sit in their place, you would automatically become a big you, and this is what you call a you attitude, a you approach, looking from the other side or looking from another opposite angle or looking from the other side, that how those people they look at you and how those people they see the stuff, or they this kind of review the stuff that you are elaborating or you are trying to explain it to them. So this you attitude would make you considerate. It won't let you lose your temper. It would not accuse and you would not charge them without facts. So once you are going to sit on their place, you would provide in your conversation, you would provide them facts, you would provide them the examples, you would provide them the ample information that is required by them to understand the task. You would keep in mind that you are going to use such kind of a language that is not going to happen lose their temper. You are going to remain considerate and so on and so forth. So this is what we are going to see. So to cut it short, let's see that what this consideration has to talk about. Focus on you instead of I and we. So instead of saying that I am offering you this and we and my company does this, instead of putting the emphasis on I and we, try to say that you are welcome to our company to see this, or you would get this benefit. You see, if I say I am offering you this benefit, and if I say that you will get this benefit, which one appeals to you? Second one. All right. So you has got that strength of catching the eye of the next person, or actually grabbing the attention of the next person. So the first thumb rule for the consideration of the next person, that avoid I and we in your conversation. Once you are writing down the letters and memorandums, try to use you, or try to make possible use of you in your approach. Show reader benefit and interest. Tell them that the thing has been designed for them. You will get these benefits. The thing has been especially designed for you. So by saying these kind of things, what exactly you can do is you can show them that the thing has been designed for them and they can benefit from it. Emphasize on positive and pleasant. So try to emphasize on the things which are positive and which are pleasant, and that grab the attention of the audiences. Apply integrity and ethics. So try to be very, very honest, try to talk about the facts. Do not beat about the bush and do not tell them the false stories that they are going to get this and they are going to get that. Try to be very, very realistic yet honest, and also take care of the ethics, that the language conventions that you are going to use should be full of or they should be ethical, so that the next person is not going to lose the temper. So these are some of the tips that you are supposed to keep in mind to make your language considerate. Focus on you instead of I and we. Show reader benefit and interest. Emphasize on positive and pleasant. The fourth thing that we have discussed is apply integrity and ethics. Now let's discuss them with examples one by one. Focus on you instead of I or we. Like using you does not help project a you attitude, but overuse can lead to the negative reaction. Now if you are continuously saying you, it can also create one negative expression or one negative impression on the next person. The excess of you is wrong. I will teach you and I will tell you that how to make the minimum or the quality use of this you in the upcoming exercises that we are going to solve. Show audience benefit or interest in the receiver. Reader may react positively when benefits are shown them. Now if you tell them that this thing has been especially designed for you, so they would automatically develop their interest. Benefits must meet a recipient's needs, address their concerns, and offer them rewards. This is one technique of involving your audiences in the kind of the conversation that you are going to have with them. So being considerate with them, either that's going to be a written paper or you are giving them the oral presentation, you should keep in mind that you are going to provide them the benefits and interest, as to grab their attention, as to address their concerns, as to offer them rewards, so that you can involve them or involve their interest in the conversation. Most important, they must be perceived as benefits by the receivers. Sometimes the receivers or the audiences, they take them as the benefits being sent by the sender. Now here is an exercise of you approach or the you attitude for you. Write with a you attitude, it shows consideration. Like for example, the first one says, I want to send my congratulations for. Now this I should be omitted by removing that with or congratulations to you. Okay, so you are not important that you are congratulating someone, rather they are important because they are supposed to receive the congratulations, or they are supposed to receive that thing that they have achieved. Now what you are supposed to do is to replace the next two sentences or convert them into the you approach. We will ship soon the goods of your order. Now here we is more important than you. So we are supposed to convert this sentence into the you approach. So we would say that you will get the order or your order soon. Right? So this is the right way of writing it, that you will get your order soon. Alright, we pay 80%, 8% interest on. So instead of writing this way, you can write it, you will get 8% interest on. So this you and this you and then this you will automatically become important, and the other person will start reading or listening to what you are saying, because in business communication I is not very important, because people don't want to listen about you. They are more interested in what you have to tell them. So they are important, and you are supposed to make them the center or the middle of the conversation, and then communicate your thoughts accordingly. Avoid negative and unpleasant words to show consideration. Like for example, the first example is, it is impossible to open an account for you today. Or you are supposed to, omit this negative expression, impossible. How would you do that? You can, rewrite that thing in any other way. Like you can say, maybe you can open your account tomorrow. So this is one, nice way of saying, instead of, directly putting on them the thing is impossible and you should go from here. So this is kind of embarrassing, and sometimes the customers and, people sitting in the business, they can mind this thing. When you travel on company expense, you will not receive approval for first class fare. Now, will not is kind of, negative expression that is to be replaced by some polite tone that the next person is not going to mind. When you travel on company expense, you can, or you will receive approval of economy class, simply saying that, instead of, telling them that they will not get the approval of the first class fare. So you can tell them that what class approval, or what which class they can travel in once they are traveling on the company expense. So there are some nice ways of, replacing these unpleasant words to show consideration to the next person whom you are addressing to. So I hope that you are learning fast, and so far we are done with the consideration, completeness, and conciseness. Another example of doing, or putting in the consideration into your this business writing is to show reader benefit and interest. Now the example is, because we have not written to you in some time, please help us bring our record by filling and returning the other half of the card. So they won't find it interesting, and they won't find it beneficial. Try to give them something extraordinary, or try to provide them the benefit. Like you can tell them other way around, that if they are going to fill in the other half of the card, maybe they can become one star member of our company next year. So they are, they would be more interested in filling up the form quickly, and they would be more interested in getting the benefit of becoming the star member of the next year. So instead of telling them that by using or avoiding these negative and tried out expressions, what you can do is you can involve them into the pleasant, interesting, and beneficial things, so that they can be interested in replying back to you. So this is one tact and one art of writing down good business messages and good business writing. So this is what I am sharing with you, and I hope that you are learning and enjoying a lot. The fourth C of communication is concreteness. That is, communicating concretely means being specific, like first of all being specific, definite and vivid, rather than vague and general. So you are going to talk about something that is specific, that is focused. So concreteness has to talk about something that is focused, that is definite or that is certain, and something that is vivid. So it has got the broader vision, instead of or clear, instead of being vague or being too general, that you are talking on the general grounds. Billiyan hoti hain, like there are cats, but there are German cats too. So one thing is specified, and one thing is written on the general, or what has been talked about on the general level. Often it means using donotatives, direct, explicit, often dictionary based, rather than connotative words, ideas or notations suggested by or associated with a word or phrase. So that we have discussed these connotative and denotative words. So this I think is very easy for you to understand, that how you can by using the vivid or clear words, how you can avoid this ambiguity or vagueness in your sentences and in your writings. To do so, to follow the this C of concreteness, use specific facts and figures. So this is what you are supposed to keep in mind. Put action into words. So for that you are supposed to put action into words by defining each and everything clearly and concretely. Choose vivid image building words by comparison and figurative language, and use more adjectives and adverbs, for which we are going to see the examples one by one. Now, if I say use specific facts and figures, it means that it is desirable to be precise and concrete in both written and oral business communication. So, it is really very desirable to be very concrete and precise in both written and verbal, oral, both of them in any kind of the business communication that you are going. Now, see, kind of vague, general and indefinite students' GMAT scores are higher. Now, what was that and when was that and where was that? Concrete and precise says, in 1996, the GMAT scores averaged 600. By 1997, they had risen to 610. So this is kind of more specified and more precise and more concrete information, instead of providing the vague information that when did it happen and in which comparison you are talking about that the rate was higher and stuff like that. So this is what, and this is how we actually convert or talk about the concreteness in the sentences. Now, when I say put action into verbs, verbs can activate other words and also help them make your sentences alive and more vigorous. Since verb is a word which shows an action, so verbs, by using a lot of words in your business writing, you can make your writing more alive, or you can make your sentences more alive. Use active rather than passive voice. So active voice should be preferred once you talk about the concreteness. Put actions into verbs rather than nouns. So actions should be put into verbs rather than using or making the help of nouns. For example, the memo was sent by manager. That is the passive voice where your verb is not active. Now we would write it in the active voice. That would become manager sent the memo. So the stress is on the verb, that is making your sentence look more alive. The scientists discovered the formula. The formula was discovered by the scientist. So this is how, by putting stress on action verbs, you can make your sentences look good and better. Choose vivid and image building words. Business writing uses less figurative language than does the world of fiction. So the world of fiction is basically full of figurative speeches and these flowery language and these image building verbs, like there was a huge sky with twinkling white diamond stars on it, and this is kind of a very detailed exaggeration kind of, or elaboration of the sky, but they should be replaced in technical writing like bland images. This is a long letter, and more vivid images. This letter is 3 times as long as you said it would be. So you are supposed to specify, and you are supposed to use these vivid and image building words which talk about the factual information or facts, which is going to help you see that how you are going to do that. Exercises that rewrite the following in concrete form, as the sentences are too general and vague. Our product has won several prizes. Now you are supposed to replace and rewrite this sentence in concrete form, as this sentence is too vague and too general. Our product, which product? Won several prizes, which several prizes? So you can, or you are supposed to you have to specify that what is your product and it has won which several prizes. So you can say Lux has won stars awards. So it is more specified as compared to you say that our product has won several prizes. So you can more specify it by saying Lux Award has won Stars Awards. So it is more specified. These brakes stop a car within a short distance. Now brakes should be specified and the distance should be also specified. Hydraulic brakes, or maybe any other brakes that you know of. I only know of these brakes. Hydraulic brakes stop a car within 3 feet distance. Or ABS brakes. I know another one. Which one you know of? Alright, so ABS brakes stop a car within 3 feet distance. So this is what you are supposed to see, that how you are going to move from too general information to the specific one. So you would be given some sentences in your exams too, as to make them some kind of specific and kind of more focused as compared to the ones we are talking right now. Put action into words by using the active instead of passive voice. Like the first example is tests were made by us. So what would be the active voice? Yes, active voice would be we made tests. A full report will be sent to you by the supervisor, so that has to be also written into the active voice. The supervisor sent the full report. And third example is Mr. Singh will give consideration to the report. Consideration will be given to the report by Mr. Singh. So this is how you are going to convert these passive voices into the active one, to make sure that how you can put action into words by using the active instead of passive voices. Use vivid image building words, adjectives and adverbs, and use less of the abstract nouns. The camera has a system that gives good pictures. Now you are going to use the vivid image building words. And now this by using the adjectives and adverbs. The LG camera has a, I don't know which system, that one you are going to specify, that gives 5 megapixel pictures. Something like that. So you are going to you can also convert, or you can also write down some adjectives like bright, 5 megapixel pictures, or more realistic, or lively, or something like that. So you are going to insert more adjectives and adverbs into the sentences that you are given to write on. So that was about concreteness that we had been talking about. So make your sentences concrete. You have learned that how you can use some techniques to make them more to the point and more more realistic for your audiences. Now the next thing that we are going to discuss is clarity. Clarity has something to do with the clearness of the message, or making the content of the message more clear. Getting the meaning from your head to the head of your reader accurately is for the purpose of clarity. So whatsoever is in your mind, you are supposed to convey that to your reader. Now the reader has to perceive it, or reader has to receive it the way you had that thing in your mind. And this is what you are supposed to do when you talk about clarity. This is basically what you call clarity. So this is not an easy job to write clearly to your audiences, because whatsoever you have in your mind may be interpreted, or may be be understood differently by your receiver. But once you talk about the business writing, the things that you write are supposed to be very, very factual, as to make sure that the next person or the receiver is going to receive the message accurately and with clarity in his mind. Of course, it is not simple. We all carry around our own unique interpretations, ideas, experiences which are associated with words. We are coming from different cultures, we are coming from different family backgrounds, we are coming from different educational backgrounds. So sometimes this is not very, this is not very possible for the next person to see, or to make sure that the experiences that you have are similar to the experiences the next person have, so the kind of the information that you are trying to send it to the next person may be interpreted differently by the next person, but your best possible practice should be that you are going to convey it in a way that is there in your mind. Of course, the connotations, the word connotations and then the sentences connotations, they differ from person to person, so I will teach you the ways that how you can actually write with clarity. So stick to whatever we are discussing in today's lecture, that can make you one good business communicator. Choose short, familiar and conversational words. So for writing down for the clarity, make sure that you are using short, familiar and conversational words which are more conversational in nature and which are more kind of interactive in nature. Construct effective sentences and paragraphs by unity of idea and sequences. Achieve appropriate readability by using formal and informal language. Include examples, illustrations and visual aids. That one we are going to discuss one by one. The first thing that we are going to discuss under clarity is choose precise, concrete and familiar words. Now unfamiliar words are after or, this is the unfamiliar example that we are using. After or perusal of pertinent data, the conclusion is that a lucrative market exists for the subject property. Do you understand anything? No. Familiar is that the data we studied show that your property is profitable and in high demand. Now this is more clear and more understandable as compared to the first example that we have talked about. Another example can be, our patients enjoy the warm days when they last. Okay, let's write it down. Our patients enjoy the warm days when they last. Now who is lasting? The patients or the warm days? This is kind of ambiguous, or this is kind of not very familiar. So in other way you can say when the warm days last, our patients enjoy them. This is the right way of saying it. So you are supposed to move from unfamiliar to the familiar to make things easy and understandable by your audiences. Now construct effective sentences and paragraphs. At the core of clarity in the sentences, this grammatical sentence when clearly expressed moves thoughts within a paragraph. Important characteristics to consider are the length of the paragraph, the unity of the paragraph, the coherence and the emphasis on the words and the idea which are presented in the paragraph. So construct effective sentences and paragraph. The good sentence length is between, alright, let's discuss them again and let's write them down so that you can remember them for future also. The sentence length or the ideal sentence length should be between 20 to 25 words, and the ideal paragraph length should be between 75 to 100 words. So these are the best possible practices that you can follow. There is a kind of difference between writing down, write positively and do not write negatively. Let's write them down here. If I say write positively and do not write negatively, which one appeals to you, the first one or the second one? Yes, the first one, because the positive or the pleasant has been boosted up or is being imposed in the first sentence. However, the second one, it automatically conveys the negative thought. So to keep in mind the effectiveness of sentences, you are supposed to keep in mind the length and then the facts and making it more powerful and clear for the next person. Now using the simple words to make your whatsoever you are writing, you make your business writing more clear, is to use simple words. Like for the word subsequent, later can be used. For the word accede, agree can be used. For the word endeavor, try can be used. For For the word supersede, replace can be used. For the word disclose, show can be used, and there are so many other words that can be used or can be replaced. Those difficult words can be replaced with the simple words once you talk about the business communication, because everyone is not coming from the same background. So you are going to make sure that you use such kind of a language that is understandable by every level of the audiences, and they can understand your language. Once they will be in a position to understand your language, you would be in a better position to convey your ideas, your feelings, and your thoughts and your facts and figures to them. Another thing that you are supposed to keep in mind, or another C of communication, is courtesy. Courtesy is very important when it comes to any piece of writing or any piece of communication, especially in your business, because your business grooms or your business flourishes with the quantity or with the quality of the courtesy that you are providing to your potential client and to your audiences. True courtesy involves being aware not only of the perspective of others but also their feelings. Courtesy stems from a sincere you attitude. So you are supposed to be very, very sincere once you talk about the benefits and interests of the others, of your audiences, of your receivers. So you are going to take them, your audiences and your receivers, very, very seriously, as to make sure that you are or your writing or your conversation is being courteous for them. To do so, there are some suggestions for generating a courteous tone. Be sincere, tactful, thoughtful, and appreciative. Try to appreciate them. Try to be very, very sincere with them. These courteous, this kind of the courteous language is very important when you are talking about the business communication. Omit expression that hurt, irritate, or insult. So it also talks about one ethics, the ethic tone that you are supposed to use in your business communication. Grant apologies graciously, and not only apologies, also try to convey these salutations, these closing complimentations to your audiences, as to make sure that you are fulfilling all the demands of the ethics. Assalamu alaikum, thank you so much, I am very pleased to see you. Oh, I'm so sorry to hurt you, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, please forgive me, I couldn't hear you. All of these words are choices that you make once you are trying to be courteous to the next person, and once you are trying to be tactful and thoughtful in conveying your information to your audiences. Now there are some examples. Be sincerely tactful, thoughtful, and appreciative. Though few people are intentionally abrupt or blunt, these negative traits are common cause of discourtesy. Now don't try to be discourteous. Tactless and blunt means stupid letter, I can't understand any of it. So that's kind of really very blunt and very abrupt and very kind of discourteous. Clearly you did not read my latest facts. So they are kind of the tone automatically is being conveyed, even if it's written communication. More tactful, it's my understanding, I couldn't read the letter, or I couldn't understand the letter well. Sometimes my wording is not precise, let me try again. So you try to be courteous and be kind to the others, as to make sure that they understand your message clearly. Use expression that show respect. No reader wants to receive messages that offend. Like skip irritating expressions like you are offending, you failed to do that, contrary to your inference, inexcusable, simply nonsense, go out or get out, or these kind of words which are kind of irritating expressions, or which can be irritating expressions for the next person, should be thoroughly avoided in any kind of the conversation that you are doing, or any kind of the business conversation that you are coming across. Now here is another activity and another exercise for you. Bring courtesy in the following text. The first one is, hey man, what's this? I heard about the good news. You sure pulled a fast one this past weekend and they didn't tell any of us about it. Give my regards to the little lady and wish her the best. She'll need it. So you are going to convey this whole paragraph into a courtesy or into a courteous statement. Hey man, what's this? I hear about the good news. You sure pulled a fast one this past week and they didn't tell any of us about it. So that has been replaced into give my regards to the little lady and wish her the best, she'll need it. So this is what and this is how you are supposed to be, or write down your sentences into the courteous thing. Warm congratulations on your wedding, another way of being courteous to someone. Well, you certainly took us by surprise. In fact, just a few of us even suspected you were taking off to get married, but even though we did not hear about it, we wish you the best. So they are kind of, or this is being more kind of courteous. Give our warm regards to your new partner. So this whole conversation is a kind of more courteous and more kind, more thoughtful and more tactful for the listeners. Choose non-discriminatory expressions. Another requirement for courtesy is to use of the non-discriminatory language that reflects equal treatment of people regardless of gender, race, ethnic origin and physical features. Now, black versus white, male versus female, all of these things are taken care of or should be taken care of once you are talking about the non-discriminatory expressions. Like when I use the word secretary, what comes in your mind? Secretary, a lady girl sitting on a front desk. Yes, the general impression or the common impression in our society is the secretary would be a female sitting on the front desk, smart, young lady and welcoming you. This particular designation has been attached to ladies only. However, this is not the case. Secretary can be a male as well. So this is what you call gender discrimination or a stereotyping thing in our society. We are supposed to avoid that once you talk about being or providing this courtesy in your language. Now let's see how to do that. There are kind of sexist terms like man words in our society which should be replaced with kind of elaborated words, or where females and males, they should be treated equally. Freshman, now this man is to be replaced with new student or entering student. Manpower, it can be workers or employees. Man-made, constructed, manufactured and built. Chairman, chairperson or chair. Now you see, every man or man word should be replaced with those words which are more understandable by everyone. Policeman, it can be police officer, fireman or fire brigade. So these kind of words should be replaced, man words should be replaced. Singular pronouns, singular pronouns should also be replaced with the plural ones to use or to make sure that they carry this non-discriminatory behavior or non-discriminatory language in them. Anyone who comes to the class late will get his grade reduced. Now this his should be replaced. Anyone who comes to the class late will get their grade reduced. Each manager has an assigned parking place. He should park his car there. Now each manager has an assigned parking place. They should park their cars there. Okay, so this is how you are going to replace the singular pronouns into the plural ones, so as to make them non-discriminatory language for the next person. Names should also be addressed accordingly. Treat each gender with respect. For example, Ted, April and Ruth. So Ted and April, Ruth. So this is how you are going to address them. Mrs. April and Ted, Miss April and Miss April and Mr. April is going to be the right way of saying it. Titles should be avoided once you are sitting in the business scenario or once you are sitting in the business conversations. Mr., Miss, Mrs., Miss, all of these titles should be used thoroughly once you talk about the courtesy or showing courtesy into your language. Show courtesy by avoiding tactless and blunt language like your letter is not clear at all. So instead of using these blunt words, you can take the task on you, and you can, I couldn't read your, or I couldn't understand your letter, would you please elaborate that? Obviously, if you would read your policy carefully, you would be able to answer these questions yourself. So instead of, you know, telling them that they have not read the thing properly, you can tell them that I would appreciate if you can reread the policy. It will give you the best answers for your questions. You can also use the gender friendly substitutes. The best man for the job is, now do that, pick up your pen and copy. The best man for the job is, or you can replace that with, the best person for the job is. Manpower, yes, human power. Salesman, salesperson. Chairman, chairperson. So this is how you can replace them with the gender free substitute words. The last C of communication is correctness, which basically talks about the correctness in proper grammar, punctuation and spelling. However, a message may be perfect grammatically and mechanically, but still insult a loose or a customer. So this is what you call correctness in the any kind of the business writing that you are sending. Use the right level of the language. Now this right level of the language means that you are not going to insult the next person. Check accuracy of facts, figures and words, that you have provided all the factual information. Maintain acceptable writing mechanics. So whatsoever format you are supposed to follow for writing down any piece of paper, you are going to stick to that. Choose non-discriminatory language, as we have also discussed in the previous slides as well. Use parallel language means that everything should go parallel to each other, and each one of them would be described one by one now. The right level of the language, accuracy and acceptable mechanics. Select the right level of language of your communication, either formal or informal. So the right level should be selected. Either you want to be formal or you want to be informal, should be conveyed automatically. Realize that formal language is most often used in business communication. So formal language is more often there in business communication, so you are going to stick to the formal communication once, or the formal language once you talk about the business communication. Check for correct figures, facts and words. So see that you are providing the factual information, and you are providing them with the facts, and you are giving them the accurate words to be defined. Apply the principles of accepted mechanics to your writing. Use the right level of language from formal and less formal language. Like more formal can be participate, procure, endeavor. Less formal can be join, get and try. Check accuracy of figure, fact and words. A good check of data is to have another person read the comment on the validity of the material. So proofreading is more important. It's really very important when you talk about checking out for clarity, and then checking out for correctness in any kind of the data that you provide. Now there are a few tips for effective verbal messages. That we are done with the 7 C's of communication thoroughly. I'll give you some tips that can help you improve your verbal messages or improve your verbal communication. Either that's going to be written or that's going to be spoken. We have thoroughly discussed that what verbal communication is. That carries the verbal messages and then non-verbal messages. We will make sure that how you can make your written and spoken communication effective. Now first thing that you are supposed to keep in mind is to be direct. Now by being direct means that you are going to use the active voice instead of the passive voice. Be direct once you are conveying your ideas and once you are conveying your thoughts. Consider your audiences. Now this you is very important once you talk about, or once you want to, or if you really want to develop, or once you want to make your communication effective. Be clear. Now clarity is really very important. How you can provide this clarity in your messages by avoiding the vague or ambiguous sentences. By talking about too general, you should better move to the specific and more specified things. Watch your non-verbal signals. If you are using the channel of spoken, watch your non-verbal signals. If you are saying something, that should be accompanied with your non-verbal behavior. Like it should not look like that you talking or you are talking something else, but you are actually defining something else. Pay attention to the receivers. this non-verbal behavior or your attention or your courtesy towards your receivers is very important. Repeat when needed. So try to be courteous, or do not tell them bluntly that I am not going to repeat things. Tell them that if they require more information, they are welcome to ask questions. Communicate bit by bit, so move step by step. Do not shower the information on them and then expect from them that they are going to reply back to you. Use varying techniques, so use different techniques so that you are not going to stick to only one thing in a one way. Auditory, visual, kinesthetic, so all of these things are or fall under the heading of your non-verbal or non-verbal behavior. With that, let's quickly wrap up today's lecture. In today's lecture, we have thoroughly discussed the 7 C's of communication. We talked about completeness in our previous lecture. We also talked about conciseness, consideration, clarity, concreteness. Then we talked about courtesy and then the correctness of the messages. If you keep in mind all these 7 C's of communication, I am sure that you are going to achieve the level of becoming the good business communicator and good business administrator. I wish you a very good luck for writing down and producing good business communication documents. I'll be here with you in the upcoming lectures, and we will make sure that how we are going to practice all our language skills and to make you good verbal and non-verbal communicator for your audiences. Take very good care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.